All right, so I want to make a video here while I work through a problem here with the ChatGPT macOS app. Basically, I want to programmatically be able to control this app to be able to type in a message and then send that message and then actually see the response that comes back. And so to do that, I'm going to be using AppleScript for the automation. And so I've got Script Debugger opened up here. Basically, I'm going to wire up Script Debugger to the ChatGPT app and see if I can figure out, first off, how to access this text box here. And then second off, how I can access the last message as well, maybe even message history. And I just want to record doing this. I'm not going to do a lot of edits on this video. Just wanted to see if I could capture the workflow. It's kind of a pain to go through. And so if this is something you're familiar with, trying to automate things with AppleScript, well, then hopefully this is useful to you, especially if you have not yet tried out Script Debugger. And specifically, if you have not yet tried out opening up a dictionary here, and I'm going to pick the system events entry. And then in the Explorer here, let's see. All right, so I need to launch this here actually. Once that's launched, then I can get access to the application processes, which is a great way to see everything running on the machine and not need to track down a particular process by name or some other criteria. And so underneath of here, I can just start opening things up until I can find the ChatGPT app in here. So I'll run the show more. I'll click that button a few times here. All right, so there's the application process for ChatGPT. So if I just split the screen here, I should be able to just drag this over then into my script, and it should add a basic script to be able to talk to that application process. And specifically, if I expand this out here, come back to the Explorer, I should be able to start to see some of the UI elements. For example, there's a menu bar. In this case, there's also a window. So presumably this is the one window that I have right here. So maybe what I want to do actually is take that window and see if I can interact with it over here. So I'll do that instead of just talking to the app process itself. So I should be able to do something like set foo to the window. Actually, I need to combine these together here. Oops. So I'll go ahead and compile that. All right, so Command K will compile it, if you will, or maybe just check, and Command K will go through the formatting process and indent things. And if everything's okay, it'll give nice syntax highlighting, by the way. All right, so if this works here, then I should be able to do something like set foo to, and then the window. Run this, and yeah, you can see I've got a variable here. So now I have a reference to that window. And inside of there, I can then start drilling in just like I had over in the Explorer on the right, except I'm honed in on one specific window in this case within one specific application process. So I can continue drilling in here, or I can come back to the Explorer. Either will work here. I'll close the Explorer though for now. I kind of prefer to get this set up and captured with a variable and then drill in here. So essentially what I like to do then is I like to just drill in until I think I can find what I'm looking for. And actually one way to help figure out where the element is at that I want to target, you can also use something like a UI inspector or a UI browser. UI element inspector should work here. This will give me a hint about where I want to look here. So I'll go ahead and think I've already got accessibility set up. So just continue here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so this is kind of like the Chrome dev tools when you're inspecting elements on the page. Same idea here. I can drag my cursor over elements. Let's see, is it frozen? Oops. Looks like it might only be working for this window and not others. So maybe I do need to check the security settings here. Just kill that off for now. So under accessibility here, I just updated to the latest macOS, and it seems like it's reset some of my permissions, or there's new criteria for permission. So let's just see if we can get, well, right there, that says Script Debugger. Oop, cancel, it's not Script Debugger, my bad. I'm actually looking for the UI element inspector. Okay, it was turned off, so I'll turn that on there. All right, that's turned on now. So if I run the element inspector again here, make sure I quit out and run that actually. I don't know if that was still open. Now, when I hover over, yeah, you can see now that I'm moving the mouse over another application, the one behind here, you can see it's changing. And so if I come over to the ChatGPT app, notice how, and I believe you can do Command F7 to toggle inspecting. That'll freeze it in place. Notice how when my cursor was over about right here, it's targeting the application ChatGPT, the window ChatGPT, which is the same window I already found here. And then inside of there, I'm looking for a group with a split group, with a group, with a scroll area, a list, a group, and a group. And this is why this can be a hassle. It's just the level of nesting with the accessibility framework can kind of drive you crazy. And so that's why I like to take a look at this hierarchy here, because it can help me navigate down the hierarchy once I've opened things up here inside of Script Debugger. So what I like to do then is, whoops, let's come back over here. Let's actually put the mouse over the top of the message window, Command F7 here. All right, and I'm gonna move that out of the way. So now, actually, less levels to dig through here. Inside the window, I need to go to the first group and then open that up. And then inside of there, I should be looking for a split group. So I'm gonna probably resize some things here just so that I can have some space to review things. All right, so I'm looking for, this is foo, my name for the window is foo. So underneath foo, I'm looking for a group. So I need to open up group 1 here. So groups here, this is the groups collection. It's not the first group, actually. This is the first group here. So once I've expanded that group, that's got me down to the level of this AX group here. So next up, I'm looking for a split group inside of there. I might just resize again here. All right, so now you can see I've got splitter groups here. And if I make this a little bit bigger here, so that's the collection as well. So I need to open that up and then open up splitter group 1. There's only one of them, so I obviously know which one I want to drill into. At some point here, we're going to find multiple elements and we'll have to kind of spelunk to see which one it is. All right, so inside of the splitter group here. And by the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm just developing a mechanism whereby I could actually capture this into another variable here. So I could do like set bar 2, and then I could capture that splitter group. So if I run now, you can see I've got, instead of just foo, I could actually drill into bar now. And bar I know is going to be splitter group 1 here. And that's in the hierarchy here of split group 1. So that's bar basically. Probably should have called it split group 1, but whatever. So now inside of that, I want to look for a group as well. And you can see, well, there's only one group. That's luck. That's good. There's only one group here. That's good luck. Expand that out here. So that's the group. And then inside of here, I'm looking for a scroll area. There are 3 scroll areas, unfortunately, which means we'll have to do a little bit of digging here. So inside of the scroll area, you can see I'm looking for a text area. All right, so let's just look through these and see if any of these have text areas at all. That doesn't look to have a text area. I believe you'll see a top level collection for text areas, but I can't quite remember. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. So that was actually pretty easy to go through. If I open all these up, you can see in the collections up here on top underneath the scroll area, in this case, there's no text area. So I'll close that. No text area here. In fact, there's no nested elements here. All right. And so then last up, this is the only one that has a text area. I'm looking for, well, there's only one text area here. So this must be the one I'm looking for. So now I've got what I want here. I can literally just drag this over to my script. Looks like it's sometimes I'm not certain the process whereby it creates the script for this, but it looks like it recreated this based on bar. Okay, so I'm going to put that back there. That's fine. I'll clean this up later on. I just want to get it to work here. So set input box 2 and then, yep, Command K. Let's just run that and see if we capture that input box or if we have any problems. Looks like that ran successfully here. There's input box. So if I drill in here, now I should be able to do something to interact with this input box. So let's see. Let's just see if I can set the value of it. Actually, let me do this. Let me change the value here. I'll just put in foobar over in the text box. Now, if I come back here and I run my script again, you can see right now the value is empty. If I run this again, though, if that's actually the value that corresponds to that box, I should be able to see, yep, oh, I put footer in instead of foobar. Oh, it corrected me from foobar to footer. That's fine. Footer, what am I thinking? So this is the correct box. So now what I might want to do here is I could say set the set value of input box to, and I could put, just see if I can change the value of that input box here, and maybe resize here so you can see if that works or not. Well, I hate that. I hate that. One problem I have is you almost need multiple windows to really work through this, but I can only record one easily, so apologies for all the resizing. Let's just cross our fingers though, Command K, that works. Run it and see what happens here. And hey, look at that. Look at the text box there has testing inside of it. So that's the first step of what I wanted. The next step then is going to be a bit more difficult, I suspect, and that's going to be getting the message history above here to get the last response. And with all the crazy features they've been adding, like sources, this might become difficult to find all of that response and make sense of it. But let's just see if I can find that text box now. All right, so now I want to go back to my inspector here. Command F7 will unlock that so I can start inspecting again. I'm going to put my mouse right over the top of this response here. And yeah, you can see there's many, many levels here. So if I do Command F7 now, that'll freeze it in place. Make sure that that's correct here. Scroll off, scroll on. Okay, yeah. So Command F7 now. All right, so that freezes in place. I've got about, I don't know, 11 layers to dig through here. Some of it's going to be the same, though, as what I already previously found. I'm going to assume that the group, the split group, the group, and the scroll area are probably exactly the same here. And that was scroll area 3 here. So I can modify this script here just to help myself out. Come down here and I can do set scroll area to this. That should run successfully here. Yeah, that does. Okay, so that gets us down to here. All right, so now if I go back and split the screen here. So I've got scroll area here. That's what I want to look inside of. Now I know I need to go 2 levels of lists, UI elements here. So, oh, I didn't mention previously, if you can't find a collection with the specific type like AX list on top here, then you want to look at the collection of all elements, which is just this UI element. So there are sub collections, for example, text areas, or there's the entire collection of UI elements if there isn't a collection for the specific input that you're looking for. So I think I need to look in here actually. There's only one UI element. That's interesting. Is that a text area? Am I looking too far down the stack here? Ah, yes. Didn't I say there were like 3 different scroll areas? There were. So we're going to do scroll area, and I'm going to call this message, just call this messages, because I suspect this is probably actually one of those other scroll areas. So group 1, scroll area 3. All right. So I'm probably going to want scroll area 1 or 2, but just to make sure I get that right, you can see I captured foo here. You can see I captured bar here, which should be the splitter group, which is this one right here. So let's go back to that and just verify it here. Here's bar. Open this up. I'm looking inside of that for the first group. I think there's only one. Yep, open that up. Now I'm looking for the scroll area. There should be 3 here. There are 3. Now, scroll area 3 has the input box at the bottom. I don't want that one. Instead, or at least I don't think I want that one. Instead, I should be looking up. There you go. Actually, there's the hint. There are the lists, the collection of lists elements. So this is where I want to look next. And inside of here, there's the first list. And let's just hope that there's only one list. Yep, there's only one list there. So I'll drill in again. So that gets me past this list and then this list. And now I'm looking for this group right here. Let's just see. Do we have... Okay, so now we've got 2 groups. So what I might do at this point in time is kind of just save my place so I don't forget where I'm at. Come back here and drag this over. And so I'll capture list 1 of list 1. So we'll do the set this to... We'll do set the list to... I don't believe I actually need this here. It's just adding this sometimes. Run that again. Yeah, that works right there as well. So I don't need the system events right here either. So I can kind of clean up as I'm working through this here. I don't need this one either. Okay, I'll run that again here now. And close up bar. I don't need to go in there. Now I need to go into the lists, which is going to be starting here, right here. I'm looking for this group now. All right, so there's groups. I'm looking for 3 levels of groups now. So, well, there's 2 groups I have to look 4. All right, so there are 2 groups here. So what do these have? This one has a group. All right, let me guess this one has a group too. Yep, they both have groups. But if I open up the groups and go to group 1, is there a group in here? No group in here. So that's not 3 levels, because if there's 3 levels here, there'd be group 1, and then group 1, and then there'd be another group 1. So that is not the one I want. So I want actually group 1 here. Group 2 didn't have 2 more levels of groups nested. Here I should be able to find a group underneath it here. Oh no. Did I mess something up here? I'm looking for 3 levels of groups here. Groups, group 1. That's not good. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot entirely. All right, list one of the scroll area of the first group of bar. I might have made a mistake here. So let's jump back over to bar and see if I made a mistake here. Bar was supposed to be on the window, the first group, and then the splitter group. So bar should be pointed at this. I'm going to come back to bar and see if I can just go through this process again here. So there's a group underneath it there. And there's only one group underneath, so that's the one I want. And then scroll areas, there's only one scroll. Oh wait, no, there are 2 scroll areas. Remember though, there's no groups underneath scroll areas. There's no list underneath this one though, so it has to be. Make sure there's no list here. No list here. It has to be scroll area 1, which means underneath scroll area 1 now, there's lists and there's list 1. Yeah, there's only one list, and then list. There's only one list. Okay, and then for groups, so the list was correct. I should have, let's just drill down in here a little bit. If I get lost, sometimes I just dig around. Wes, you might cut some of this out in editing if it becomes too much here. All right, so I've got 2 groups here that could be either of them. That's the first group. And yes, for whatever reason, this takes a lot of time to check these elements. The accessibility calls are very slow, which is why I like to actually cache them here, like in the list. Okay, so group 1, and then groups in here, there's group 1, and then, if I remember, there's no group in here though, right? Let it run through everything. Darn. There's a static text, which is really interesting. I might need to rerun the inspector and see if I messed something up. Nope, okay. Let's close that up real quick. Let's see, group 2 here. Only one group. Again, that's interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Look what I just found here. So I don't know what happened with this hierarchy here, but it looks like this is the one I want, because you can see the message here. Oops. Here's the message right here. So a test is an assessment. There's the message right there. That's what I want, actually. So let's capture that element into a variable. I don't need the tell application around it. Set response. I'm going to call it response to, because I don't know if it's the last response or the first one. This is obviously going to change if there's multiple responses, multiple questions. So let's run this here. And I'll show you that response here has captured what I want, at least right now, with only one response. So here's response. And inside of here, the value of this, or the text inside of here, yeah, you can see the description here is exactly what I want here. So I should be able to, it's interesting that the description is set, the accessibility description is set, but the value of it, I don't know that I could actually change it with this. I can at least read it though. I could get the description here to read this. So if I wanted to make sure I actually got the message, I could say set the description of response here. Set the message to the description of the response. That should actually capture it into a variable here. Yeah, you can see there's the message right here. Same one you can see over here. I wonder if I can actually change the description. I've never tried this here before. Let's do set description. Let's do set description of response to foo. No, it wouldn't let me do that. Okay. I can't set the description. All right, that's too bad. In fact, I believe if you want to try something like that, you can just do it over here in the element inspector. If you open things up here. Oh, yeah, you can see, actually, this is why I shouldn't have even tried, because in the inspector here, you can see there's a pencil with a cross through it, which means it's not writable. It's only readable. All right. So now let's do this. Let's make life a little more complicated by putting in the next message here, testing. See if we get another response then, so I can make sure I'm pointed at the last one, which is all I care about right now. Yes, and so now Command F7 to retoggle this, and let's just point it over here versus here. If you notice, the difference between the two is actually, looks like each response is within its own group here, which is definitely interesting. In fact, I'm actually wondering if the description I found might have been the description of like the whole entire element somehow, and that's why I didn't find the two groups underneath of it. But when I hover over here, okay, that's the static text. When I hover over here, there's a group. Hover over here. Sometimes you won't have elements. Here's one of the buttons, though. All right, let's point at this here. And Command F7 to lock that in place. So again, we're looking at the same type of hierarchy. So what I probably want to do over here is, after the two groups that I found, so after the lists, and I might even want to go back to looking at the lists and see how this is laid out, actually. That might actually make some sense here. Come back to the lists here. I'm going to need to go two groups down. Though I'm curious if there's going to be like another parallel group here for each message and response. So 4 groups now. There were 2 previously. My guess would be group 4 then would be the last message. So if I drill into that one and go into its first group here, see if I can get a static text area. Yeah. All right. So what is the description on this one here? Yeah, it looks like you meant. Yeah. Okay. So that's actually this one. So what I want is I want the last group. So 2 levels down, I want the last group. So set last, you call it last response to. First off, let's do this here. Yeah. Should be able to do group 4. Or actually, I want the last group. I don't know if I can do last group. Last group of the lists. And that should be able, that should give me the one I want if that works. Yeah, that doesn't work. Let's do let's just make sure I've got this correct here. There's so many levels here. Group 4, that's the one I wanted. Okay, somehow that's messed up now. So I'll comment this out. Dash here. Run this again and see if this works here. Last response. All right. Nothing inside of there. How did that happen? Oh, I know what I did. I did the list here. That's what I meant to do. Run that. All right. Last response here. That's group 4. And then there's group 1. I want to know if I can, I believe I should be able to do last group of the list. Yeah. All right. This is, yeah, you can see even here, last response here, which is what I just set here. It's got group 4. So if I were to add more conversation here, foo. I don't know why it's searching the web for that, but okay. Now, if I come back here, I'd have to run this again here to update. So when you make changes to the target application, you need to rerun your script so you can refresh the entire hierarchy of elements, because obviously it's different here. So now if I rerun here, now you can see, yeah, last response now is group 6. That makes sense. There should be about 2 more groups since I added a new request and reply. Inside of here is group 1, and inside of here should be the static text area, which I think is going to have everything I care about. I just wanted to read the text. I don't really need to manipulate it. If I wanted to change it, that would be a different story. But yeah, here's the description of it. So if I want to get the last response message, set last response to, and we'll do my name, or for my names for variables are terrible, but that's okay. I'll clean it up later. Do last response group here. I'll rename some things on the fly. There you go. And I want to take Remember, there's a group inside of it, so group 1 of the last response. Sometimes I'll just run it to see if it captures something, and then yeah, that works. So now I should be able to do description. Oops. Set last response message to description of static. Oop, doesn't like that. Let me back up here, make this window a bit bigger so we can see this. What does it not like here? Okay. That works. Maybe it's just static text. Yeah, okay, that looks like it's working. All right, last response message. I'll split the screen here again. Yeah, a test is an assessment. Oh, I actually don't want that. I want it to have, oh, that's response. My bad. I left the other variables around. Here is the last response message. Right now, it's just a static text area. So now I need to do this. I kind of like to piecemeal go down the hierarchy to confirm I'm in the right spot. Description. Well, you can just do description. You can just do, you might be able to do this here. Yeah, description of static text area. Nope, can't do that. Okay, we'll fill it out then. All right, so if I split the screen here again, just make sure we've got in programming foo. Yeah, there you go, last response message in programming foo. So I now have access to the text box to be able to type something in to send a message, and then I should be able to read the response to that last message or request. So that was my whole goal here. So if you've ever been working with automation with AppleScript, get your hands on Script Debugger, get your hands on Script Debugger and try to get your hands on Script Debugger, try this out, work through the hierarchy of elements across applications, because this can work in any application. It doesn't have to be one that has specifically designed itself with AppleScript in mind. In fact, the ChatGPT app does not have any sort of AppleScript dictionary associated with it, which means it doesn't have native support for AppleScript automation. But because of the accessibility framework, which applies to all applications, and because of that, I was able to then, but because of the accessibility framework, which applies to all applications, I was still able to pick it apart, and I'm still able to pick it apart and set up some automations here to be able to type in a message, send it, and then get the response. In fact, did I go to the trouble of being able to send it here? I'm wondering if I send keys to it here. Let's try this. The next thing I need to do here, I need to set the description of the response. Did I change response here? Why is that one not working? I'm wondering if I accidentally changed the group here. Looks like I might have foobarred my initial. Let's run this again here and see if response is still working. Oh, here's the one for setting the value of the input. Let's just do foo here. Let's make sure this still works here. Watch the text box down here. Okay, that still works. And now if I do something like send keys, I can't remember how this works to. I honestly don't know how it works. So one thing I actually set up here, I'm going to copy this, make sure I don't screw something up here. One thing I set up was the ability here in AppleScript to be able to ask for help from ChatGPT. This goes via the OpenAI API. All right, so let's see, it's replaced that. So I just made a request here, took what I had typed in, which is English, and it turned it into hopefully AppleScript that works. Okay, so let's see if this will work to send that foo message. And let's do bar instead here. No, why is it still running? Stop. Okay. Huh. Is that because it's trying to tell application system? I don't need that. That's weird. Was that only doing that because of this addition here? Yeah, that's only doing that from what the heck? Okay, that's not going to work. So what I could do then, if I want to find that button here, I could come over Command F7 and point at the button. And, oh, that's not too many levels deep. Let's figure that one out here. Oh, I hit the button over here too. Okay. All right, so here's the button. to type something in to be able to see it here. Command F7 locks on it. So I'm looking for group, split group, group, and button here. So the button underneath of, what was it again? It's group, split group. So here's group 1, split group 1. And I'm looking for the group underneath of that group 1. And then I'm looking for the button here. So not the scroll area 3, but so I want this here. And let's do set button to group 1, because I want to look and see if there are other buttons as well. So set button to, oops. Set send here to group 1 of bar. Button was a reserved word, so I don't want to use that. All right, let me split the screen here and run this here. Should be able to capture the group around the button or buttons. So now, yeah, you can see there are quite a few elements here. Actually, I'll just make this full screen because we don't need to see this part anymore. You can close Accessibility Inspector. Okay, so now we have UI elements here. Actually, let me expand this out. I should have buttons here. Let's expand this one. Buttons, 7 elements. Yeah, there are 7 different buttons. So let's see if we can figure out the one we want. I'm assuming there might be some text here that indicates what the action is. I'm just going to go through these, though, and see if there's any indication on any of them. Now they're all button roles. Oh, here we go. The help message on this one says open in comparison or companion chat. All right, and then what is on this one's help? There's no help message on this one. Okay, let's just keep looking through the list here. I wish the Accessibility Inspector would tell you the offset of the element within a group, but at least it gets you close to what you need here. Attach context, nope. This one. Search the web, nope, okay. I'm assuming that's going to be like these buttons here. And it probably makes sense it'll be close to the end because, yeah, that's the work with apps button, which is this one right here. Let's try 6 here. I should have just jumped to the last one. I get the sneaky suspicion that that's what I want here. Yeah, here we go. Send message. So this is the one I want here. So button 7. So that's where I'm going to send button to last. I'll do last button of group 1 of bar. That might not work, but I think that may not work in the long term. I can figure that out later, though. Maybe I put a note here. All right, let's do that. Run this again here. So here's the send button. If that worked, I should have maybe the text. I can't remember. Yeah, well, I've got the help text again here. So now if I want to test sending a message here, I've got bar. I need to maybe do a different message, actually. Collapse this down here. So now I can do Baz. We'll do Baz. So I'm going to change that to Baz. And then I'm going to hopefully send the button or click the send button here. So to do that, I need to, I think it's AX press or something. You can come under actions here. Yeah, you can do this just to refer to the syntax. Action, AX press. Actually, no, I think you can just do click send button, and that's all you have to do here. So go ahead and run that. There you go. It sent the message, and now I'm getting a response here. Awesome. So that's all I wanted for now is just to find some of those controls. Now I can write my script to be able to interact with the ChatGPT app automatically and hopefully hook it up to some other applications I want to use it with. Kind of curious about maybe setting up some sort of integration between the Claude desktop app and the ChatGPT app. I was thinking maybe if Claude had a tool using its model protocol, using its model context protocol. I was kind of thinking that Claude could have a tool in the model context protocol, basically a server in that would allow it to talk to the ChatGPT app and get responses back, or vice versa, actually. So I was kind of interested in setting that up, and so that's where I wanted this. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to show you how you can dig through the hierarchy of elements and how you can use that then to capture references and then use those later on inside of another script to perform automations. And don't forget, you definitely want to have access to Script Debugger. It's like $50 or something, well worth every single penny. If you try to do this with some other tooling, especially if you try to do this with just Script Editor, your life is going to be miserable.